Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Mr. V. It is Tuesday, April 21st, 2020. Today, we're going to be reviewing Word Generation 2.05, page 28, which is Think Scientifically. It's a new week, week 5 of virtual learning. Seems like just yesterday we were in school. I miss all of you very much. And today got some pretty straightforward materials. So this video, I'm not expecting to go on forever like some of my other videos. But again, I was talking to one of your classmates a little while ago. And again, just it's a great opportunity to show some personality at the same time and show you guys, hey, Mr. V is not a robot. And again, I think you guys know that from the way we interact in the classroom. So I'm not trying to change my style or anything like that. Keeping things flowing with, OG Mr. V, so to speak. Yeah, what do you think of that? So before we get going, I guess I'll do the theme music before we go over the agenda. Sound good? Been playing a lot of this game lately. If you've been listening to the shows and tuning in, probably realize I used a song from this video game the other day. In that game, Grand Theft Auto 5. Here we go. Beyonce's giving me the crazy look right now. All right, all you cool cats and kittens, that song is called Music Sounds Better With You. Sounds better when I'm here with you. It's on the non-stop pop FM radio station from Grand Theft Auto 5. The artist is Stardust. So Stardust, Music Sounds Better With You. That's today's song. So I'm going to take you on over, all you cool cats and kittens, to the agenda board. Cool cats and kittens, some Tiger King humor for you guys out there. I was speaking again with a student earlier, and one of them said that their mom's been watching it, which I'm not surprised. I think Joe Exotic and the Tiger King is keeping people connected during these times. All right, so, oh man, this looks terrible today. There's a nice clear shot. Okay. All right, so going to start with going over our question of the week this week. I know some of you guys have already answered it. I saw Dave and Haley, you guys already answered. How do you like your bacon? There's a picture on Google Classroom. Just, select your response to the question so I can track your engagement for the week. Just a heads up, last week's question of the week, 8 students in 7 Yale engaged compared with 5 from 7 Harvard. So 7 Yale leading strong by 3. Hopefully we can pump those numbers up today. I'd love to see them both reach the teens and really duke it out to see which class will be the question of the week champion. So the first ever question of the week champion classroom is 7 Yale. Going to talk real quick about independent reading. Had a number of questions over the weekend about that. I know I've covered it in previous videos, but again, just to make sure we're clear on the expectations, as well as submitting work. Then going to talk just real quick about some enrichment ideas that me and some of the other staff have been talking about for some of these virtual sessions. Then we're going to get to day 3, Think Scientifically, Word Generation 2.05. Should students be paid for performance in school? Again, some of you guys probably already started to develop your opinion for this question. Whew, I just had a mild panic attack. I thought that my microphone was off. Whew, thank God it's on. Going to read page 28, and then we're going to review the notes I've taken. We're going to analyze data and record our findings using some of the data analysis questions. Then to wrap things up, just going to talk quick about tomorrow's Debate the Issue. And again, for all of you out there who are tuning in on YouTube, please be sure to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can find me on Twitter at Doran_Mr. V. Vocabulary for our lesson are the words incentive, incentivize, implement, motivate, undertake, and lastly, enable. All right, going to take you back on over to the big comfy couch. Big comfy couch. I'm like Steve from Blue's Clues, except my couch is brown. I think his couch was red. Plug this in. Even though I'm on a Chromebook and I know it's not going to die, I still am like paranoid with all of the technical issues I've had between not unmuting that little button right there and connectivity issues. All right. I'm like deathly afraid of things going wrong during these videos because when things go wrong, Mr. V is not a very happy camper because I'm doing a lot of preparation and getting everything together, getting it going, and then when it goes flat in its face, Mr. V doesn't like to fail. All right, going to present my screen now to you and just talk real quick about our opening agenda. Again, the question of the week is up on Google Classroom. I'm going to take you on over there to show you the question. Close my Gmail account. Now, I'm not sure if you guys can see the poll results after you vote, but it's pretty neat. You can actually see how many people have voted on a particular answer. So I'm going to show you this week's question. So for this week's question, again, how do you like your bacon? You just click on that image there. It'll project all 6 options, and you just answer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Matter of fact, I'll pull the picture up now. And from here, you can see the photos. So are you a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, or a 6? Personally, I had a long conversation before about this question. I am a number 2. Okay, I'm this person here. That bacon's got those nice crispy edges, but then it still has a little bit of jiggle, all right, in the middle. I love that little jiggle, that little fattiness. Okay, I don't think anybody should be picking number 1, as that looks raw, and you might end up with salmonella. So I'm going with a 2. Okay, I think 2 would be my preferred style of bacon. What's yours? Are you a 3, 4, 5, 6? Are you a 1? Are you a 2? Be interesting to see. So gonna X that out now. Close this. All right, so our question of the week is up there. Again, just to talk real quick about independent reading, had a few people email me over the question, over the weekend, not over the question, but over this question over the weekend, I guess. So independent reading, guys, again, I'm going to reiterate this for what seems like the 6th time, but for independent reading, you can choose any book of your choice. Okay, it's an optional assignment. You do not need to complete it. Okay, however, it's strongly encouraged, and I'm strongly encouraging and recommending that you complete an independent reading project of your choice. Okay, it can be on any book. I have a copy of The Outsiders, which was our book that we were going to be reading during this trimester. I have a PDF copy I can send out to you guys if you'd like to check that out instead of Novio Boy. Totally up to you. That project can be a 1-pager. It can be a journal. It could be a book report style summary. It can really be anything. Okay, but track your reading in some way. So when we come back again, maybe we can talk about what we read and kind of what we took away from the stories that we had a chance to check out. Lastly, going to talk about engagement. Okay, so engagement again and enrichment. I'm offering questions like this as a form of enrichment, okay, and a way to engage you guys and figure out, who is accessing the material online and who can't. And what me and some of the other staff have been talking about in brainstorming is maybe doing like an hour session a week where we're on the computer, and instead of covering content like we have been, maybe instead playing a game of like charades or Pictionary, or I had suggested Uno, but then everybody would need Uno cards. Not everybody would be able to see. I'm just really trying to get a sense of what you guys have for ideas, because I think all of you are very creative and could probably come up with some interesting things. I know Kahoot is an option. I think Miss Bertardo's done a few Kahoot sessions. Now, I love Kahoot, don't get me wrong, but I don't want it to be content related. So I don't want it to be related to ELA. And I know that there's Kahoots out there for like SpongeBob and everything else. But I want to try something else. I want to try something different, and I need your help. And I would appreciate any suggestions, comments, feedback on enrichment ideas that we could potentially offer to engage you guys online that is not learning based. So got any ideas, guys? Drop them in the inbox, drop them on the comments, comment on the YouTube video. All right. Would love to hear all of your ideas. All right. Going to take you now to word generation page 28, which is Think Scientifically. All right, you'll see it looks like this. Let me just double check I'm referencing the right page number. Is it 28? Yes, it is 28. Again, the page numbers are right here on the bottom. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. You can see the page number there, page 28. Think Scientifically is the section that we're taking care of today. Again, our vocabulary is at the top, but for Think Scientifically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this brief little scenario, okay, which starts here and ends down here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you over to the notes and going to go through the questions with you. Again, going to play spoiler alert. I didn't read any of this before I answer the questions. That's how straightforward I found today's lesson. So again, if it seems like I'm moving fast, or if it seems like, oh wow, that's it, it really is. That's it today. I think it's pretty clear cut and straightforward. But again, feel free to reference my responses to help you with your work. All right. So Think Scientifically, again, for the question, should students be paid for performance in school? The students in Mr. Simi's class are about to take a test on organizing and interpreting data. Mr. Simi asks, what would you say if I told you that those of you who got an A on this test would get $20? I say that's the best news I've heard all year, exclaimed Chantel. I would be much more motivated to study if I knew I could make money for doing well. Mr. Simi says, the school is thinking about implementing a program to pay students when they get good grades. It would be a partnership between local businesses and the government to provide the money and payment plans. Really? Questioned Sharif. Incentives are great, but I think that would send the wrong message to kids. There are other good reasons for doing well in school. Money isn't everything, you know. So it seemed, just real quick, that Sharif and Chantel have different opinions. Chantel's loving this idea. Sharif doesn't think offering money as an incentive is the right answer. So continuing on from here, let me just highlight that again. But it sure does help. I mean, anything that enables kids to learn more is good, right? Responds Chantel. Well, to undertake such a program, the school would need to gather evidence to support the idea that money motivates students to get better grades, says Mr. Simi. Chantel, do you think you can prove you're right? I'm sure of it. I'll survey everyone in 8th grade, replies Chantel, and my evidence will show that money is the most important reason students are motivated to get good grades. I'll work with you just to make sure you support your data accurately, says Sharif. Okay. So again, going to take you now to the notes. I'm going to actually X out of the WordGen packet, but on our notes, and in our notes, I should say, you'll see that I included a picture of this chart, which we'll be using to respond to these 2 follow-up data analysis questions. It's this question here and this question here. So these 2 questions, all right, that's the data analysis questions. And then there's also a discussion question at the bottom, which I've also written a brief response to. Okay. All right, so I'm going to X out of here. I'm going to take you over to the notes page now, check on the recording, make sure everything's going smoothly. I'm presenting, it's recording. Hello, I can see myself. All right. So just to quickly review back to the reading, I'm going to circle back to that in a sec. Zoom in here, make everything nice and big so you can see it. Okay, so again, we're on day 3. Again, has our date. Think Scientifically, should students be paid for performance in school? So here's the notes from that little scenario. So again, Mr. Simi asks, what would you say if I told you that those of you who got an A on this test would get $20? So he proposes like, hey, what if I gave you $20 to get an A on this test? Would that motivate you to do well? And Chantel thinks that she would be much more motivated if she knew she could make money for doing well in school. So she jumps to at the idea of, hey, if I get an A, you're going to give me $20, Mr. Simi? I'm all for it. And then Mr. Simi tells the students that the school is thinking about implementing a program to pay students who get good grades. All right, and it would be a partnership between local businesses and the government to come up with the payment plan and to provide money to pay students this incentive. And Sharif, again, is a bit surprised by this particular incentive because she thinks incentives are great and all, but doing so would then send the wrong message to kids. And, she thinks that there's other more important reasons for students to do well in school. So she seems to disagree with Chantel. So then Chantel and Sharif decide to undertake the challenge or accept the challenge of collecting data using a survey to figure out what motivates students to get better grades. So Chantel decides to survey 150 eighth graders, and I'll tell you where I got that 150 from in a moment. So she decides to survey 150 eighth graders, and Sharif's going to work with her to make sure her data is accurate, to make sure she's not lying. Okay, so that 150 number, right, comes from our data chart here. It says student survey responses total 150. So that tells me 150 eighth graders were asked, what is the most important reason for getting good grades in school. And Chantel's hypothesis, okay, or what she believes before conducting her survey, is that money motivates students to get better grades, while Sharif disagrees. Okay, Sharif feels that there's more important reasons for getting good grades in school. So here's the sample of the survey. So for the survey, it says, to me, the most important reason for getting good grades is, and then students who took the survey checked off one of these boxes, either A, B, C, D, or E. A, having my friends think I'm smart. B, getting approval or privileges, not money, from my parents. C, being able to get a good job, get into a good college. D, getting money so I can buy stuff. Or E, feeling good about myself. Now, I decided to take it a step further and actually respond to the survey myself. I would be an E person, okay? I think, the most important reason for getting good grades is to feel good about myself. It just, again, gives me a bit of confidence and makes me know that, hey, I'm doing a good job. I take a lot of pride in my work. So, my most important reason as a kid for getting good grades was probably just to feel good about myself. And then also, I would agree with C, to get into a good college and get a good job. I think, your school performance definitely, leads you in that direction. Money was never the number one incentive for me to do well in school. So, hopefully that made some sense. Now, going over here to the data chart, so this shows their findings, okay? So for A, there were about 20 people who think having my friends think I'm smart was the most important reason for getting good grades. B, looks like about 30 students responded that getting approval or privileges, not money, from my parents was a reason to get good grades. C, we had about 80 students, which is more than half of the 150 students surveyed. So C, those students felt the most important reason for getting good grades is being able to get a good job and get into a good college. D, felt that getting money so I can buy stuff was the most important reason. It looks like there's about 20 responses there as well. And then lastly, E, feeling good about myself. Only 10 students, roughly, felt that was the most important reason for getting good grades. So now I'm going to take you to the data observation questions. So question 1 asks, was Chantal right? Do students consider money to be the most important? How do you know? So my response says Chantal was incorrect about students thinking money is the most important reason for getting good grades. Only 20 students out of 150 that were surveyed said that the most important reason for getting good grades was D, getting money so they can buy stuff. The survey results indicate that more than half of all students surveyed felt the most important reason for getting good grades is C, being able to get a good job or get into college. So you'll see with my response, I answered all parts of the question. Okay. Was Chantal right? Nope, she was incorrect. Do students consider money to be the most important? No, they do not. Okay. Feel that it's the most important because only 20 students out of 150 chose that answer. That also explains how I know. Okay. So again, supporting your ideas with examples and evidence from the data chart is what is expected of you with question number 1. Okay. And again, my response is, textbook. It's, accurate. There's nobody who could possibly answer this question and say Chantal was right, because looking back at the data, an overwhelming majority of students chose C, whereas only 20 students chose, D, that getting money was the most important reason for getting good grades. All right. So hopefully that made some sense. Going to take you to question 2. Are you surprised by the data that Chantel and Sharif collected? Why or why not? I wrote, I am surprised by the data that Chantel and Sharif collected because it seems to indicate that paying students might not be the right incentive to motivate students. Therefore, I am not sure if I agree that implementing a program that pays students will enable them to do better. Rather, it seems that providing a free college education might be the right incentive program to undertake. So you can see in this paragraph that I used a lot of the vocabulary from our lesson. Okay, I think I used every word actually. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I used all 5 words in just this short paragraph. And I also connected it to the overall question, okay? I was a bit surprised by this data because, again, thinking back to the reading we've already completed, I know that they had implemented this program in Washington, D.C. To pay students up to, I think it was $200 per month, and they used that as an incentive. But maybe that was the wrong incentive to provide. Okay, I think that it seems, at least based on Chantel and Sharif's observation, that most students would rather get good grades to go to a good, because they think it's going to get them to a good college. So getting good grades is going to motivate them. Their motivating factor. Excuse me. Sorry about that, guys. The motivating factor behind getting them to achieve good grades in school is really just to be able to get a good job and get into a good college. So maybe these schools could offer a system. What I'm saying is maybe the schools could offer a system that provides a free college education if you do well in school, or maybe set you up with a good paying job because you had good grades in school. It seems like that might be an incentive that school systems might want to look into, as opposed to just simply paying students, because just paying students doesn't seem, at least again according to Chantel and Sharif's survey, it doesn't seem to be that money is the best and most important reason for students to achieve good grades. So it's not the most motivating factor. Okay, it doesn't motivate them, the fact that they're going to get money. What motivates them more is the ability to get a good job and get a good college education. All right, so again, very straightforward with these questions today. Not too much for me to fill in. Hopefully, my offhand little remarks following me reading the response are helping you to comprehend what I'm saying, and will help you in composing your own answers to these questions. Question 1, again, is a right or wrong answer. Okay, nobody can say Chantel was right. For question 2, that's really just up to you. All right, that's an opinion-based question. So I was surprised by the data, whereas maybe some of you guys might feel like, no, like I expected that. Okay, maybe you would have chosen C if you were given this survey, perhaps. All right, so lastly, our discussion question reads, how could you replicate this investigation at your school? So in other words, what could we do at our school to conduct a similar survey? So I said, to replicate this investigation at our school, we might have students complete a similar survey using Google Forms. So we could give this exact survey and set it up on a Google form and then have students vote. So what I might even do is perhaps add this as a additional question of the week for this week. Okay, I'd be very interested to see what our class data would look like in response to this question. And I think using Google Forms, I just added this would allow us to tally the data in an efficient way, as well as analyze the data effectively. Because when you complete a Google form, all the answers get recorded on a Google spreadsheet, and then you can mess around with formulas and stuff like that to take a look at the averages for answers, and you can make data charts and everything like that to present this information in a way that Chantel and Sharif did. Okay. All right, so that's it. It feels like this video flew by today. Just to quickly preview tomorrow's lesson, going to stop presenting right now. Tomorrow's lesson will be the debate the issue section of word generation. So that's page 29. We'll be taking a look at some of the sample evidence that we may use in our responses to the essential question, should students be paid for performance in school? Hopefully today's data analysis has helped you to kind of focus your opinion a little bit more. Maybe you side with Chantel, maybe you side with Sharif. Maybe you have your own opinion, okay? Again, that is always an option with these word generation packets. So with that, going to wrap things up. Going to get to some music. What could be our end song today? Do I just continue from earlier? Yeah, you know what? Since there was such a huge build up to that song, we'll get more to the chorus and we'll end it this way. Sound good? To share my view out the window with you guys as we end today's podcast virtual lesson. Hope you guys can see that, and it's not just the sun bouncing off the screen. Oh yeah. A little chilly out there today, guys. Looks like we got some rain coming in. Looks like some thick clouds overhead. Again, gonna wrap things up. I will see you all tomorrow, same time, same place. I did change the Google Calendar a little bit, so it's always going to be a consistent link. Instead of me sending you guys a million emails, one every day with a new Google link for these meetings, decided to just send one out. It's on the calendar. You can access it right from our class homepage. Again, Mr. V's website for ELA. Check it out. There's a link on Google Classroom. And again, if you're watching these videos on YouTube, please, please, please like, subscribe, share with your friends. Let everybody know all about the great work we're doing at Doran for grade 7 ELA. Until next time, guys, I'll see you soon. Again, make sure to wash them hands, and we'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place.